At this point in my YouTube career, I've dedicated my channel to fully learn all of the ins and outs of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, having created dozens of videos featuring the mustachioed man, showing you all content that you may not have known about. Today, I specifically want to look at some of the craziest animations in every Mario game, whether they were intentionally added by developers or not, which you'll see are very unique in ways you might not have realized during your playthrough. A lot of stuff here I guarantee you've never seen before, and I really think you'll enjoy this video. Oh yeah, before we get started, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet, then please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. Of course, the first game to be released in the series is Super Mario Bros. That came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985, having one strange animation oddity that I want to look at, which all has to do with the starting castle of World 5. Unlike every other starting castle of every other world, this one doesn't have 3 separate balconies, and instead is only 2-tiered in its design, which I'm sure many people didn't catch, as it isn't something you'd usually pay attention to. I'm pretty sure this was just an oversight by developers, but it was never fixed for later versions of the game, so who knows? The next game to come out in Western markets for the NES is Super Mario Bros. 2, where there's a few weird animations from it that we can look at, starting with missing frames that cause certain objects to look different than intended. This is only a thing with the POW block item and the Albatos enemy, where you can see what their intended visuals were next to what the finished product looks like, meaning somewhere during development a frame must have been deleted or glitched out for this to occur. I mean, there really isn't anything crazy about this, but it does make it make sense why these two things look slightly janky. The final of the original NES trilogy is Super Mario Bros. 3 that came out in North America in 1990. Having one thing from this entry I want to discuss, which is the fact that the hammer suit looks extremely strange when you initially collect it. Instead of it looking like a Koopa, which is what the Hammer Bros are related to, it for some reason looks more like a Toad, which is odd as animating for this wouldn't even make sense. In future installments this would be fixed, so it surely was an oversight, although it leaves me wondering if there was supposed to be a Toad power-up which was removed, and this is causing me sleepless nights as I'm just constantly wondering how that would have worked. The first handheld game to be released in the mainline franchise is Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, having a strange drawn animation I want to look at, which are the underwater UFOs that you can see during the submarine section of the Muda Kingdom. I've made videos in the past speculating on why exactly there's so many of these downed spacecraft in this ocean, and have sort of come to the conclusion that it must have been others who have made an attempt at rescuing Princess Daisy, even going as far as hypothesizing that each one could represent a loss of life by Mario. Maybe I'm just speculating a bit much, but I'd love to know your theories in the comments below. Next to be released is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, having a few really interesting somewhat secret animations I want to look at, starting with faces boos will make if you keep them hiding behind their hands for an extended amount of time. For the normal boos, if you stare them down for 8 seconds, then they'll make a goofy face at you, which in my mind goes against the point of them being scared, but whatever. The other can actually occur with the big boo, but here needing to wait 16 seconds, which will cause it to begin to play peekaboo with you, a much more tame reaction that actually makes it look scared. I'm not sure why the big boo seems more frightened than the small one, but maybe this is because you have to defeat the big ones, and the smaller ones are basically indestructible. The other one I want to look at is the unused bonus markers that you can only see if you pull off the Infinite Lives exploit using the wigglers of the Forest of Illusion 1. This is done by jumping between them, while ensuring one goes off screen so its rage subsides and they go back to normal, where eventually if you did it right, some really strange glitch out graphics show up. It's hard to say if these were intended and taken out, or if it's just some sort of visual glitch that occurs because the numbers don't go that high. The second entry in the Super Mario Land sub-series came for the Game Boy, but this time in 1992, where the only thing from it I want to talk about is the funny animation made for when you want to delete one of your save files. Here you can see that Mario turns into his bomb form to literally blow up the file to start anew. Something that you definitely wouldn't expect in such a rudimentary title, but it's these little touches that Nintendo adds that makes their games so great. Unfortunately, you can never turn into this form during the gameplay, which is a letdown as I think it could have led to some great moments. The first game to be released within the 3D realm is Super Mario 64 for the N64, where really the only strange animation from it is the Lakitu Bros, which you can't see during the game unless you go to one specific area. This is the entrance to Snowman's Land, as there's a mirror there that allows you to see the cameraman in action, which is a bit strange as who exactly is he broadcasting to? The only other place you see him is at the very beginning of the game during a cutscene where he's flying around the castle grounds. Although, his existence was never really explained, which again is a letdown. Up next is the unique Super Mario Sunshine GameCube entry, which has a few graphical errors I want to look at that produce some strange animations, starting with what happens when Delfino Plaza floods. This occurs after Shadow Mario is defeated in every course, which enrages Bowser Jr. and causes him to release water from Corona Mountain, where for some reason having the home hub in this state glitches things up. This includes the walls inside of the police station looking like they should be the walls of the outside, a Toad completely changing color from blue to purple, textures around a lot of the buildings being completely distorted, and finally, Toadsworth looking weird as his staff is missing and his character model is much smaller. Finally, I actually want to mention an animation that's missing, which is the entire sun, which is something that you can see, or I guess in this case not see, during episode 6 of Bianco Hills. This is just strange as there's still sunlight in this level, but no source of where it comes from, leading to this really confusing scenario. Nintendo would eventually return the series to its 2D roots with the release of New Super Mario Bros. For the dual-screen system, where really the only thing I want to showcase from it are the strange Toads. As you can see, when Bowser Jr. distracts Mario by sending lightning strikes on Peach's castle, a bunch of Toads flee in terror, running around frantically not knowing what's going on. If you look really close, then you'll notice that these Toads are actually a bunch of Toadsworths. Although it is really far away, so you can't really tell unless you zoom and enhance. I know that this is rather meaningless in the grand scheme of things, but I still find small tidbits like this interesting to show off, even if they are sort of useless pieces of information. Next up is the space-based Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii entry, where one type of animation that you might not have caught initially that's really unique is some of the death ones, as losing a life in some very specific ways leads to some really peculiar moments. These include the one by the Slurples where Mario goes limp and faces straight down in the dirt, drowning in any pool of water which just looks absolutely morbid, getting squished to death by any object or enemy where Mario becomes completely flat, getting electrocuted by the rails, which actually shows Mario's bones as the shock is so great it's like he's getting x-rayed, getting frozen to death either in the waters or by an enemy that can chill you, and finally floating off into space forever, which can happen if you run out of the floaty fluffs in the Gusty Garden Galaxy. The second entry in the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii in 2009, where strange animations from it that I want to look at are the course clear ones that are different depending on which character and what state you're in when you finish a level. I didn't even realize there was a difference depending on these factors, mostly just changing how your character celebrates, which is just a nice touch more than anything else. Up next is the sequel to the space-based Mario entry, here coming out for the Wii in 2010, where the only weird animation I wanted to discuss is a particular face that King Womp makes once it's defeated. The catch is that he makes this expression while lying face down after being beaten in the Throwback Galaxy, which is an oddity as it means that you never actually see its dumbfounded expression. Maybe this was done as a bit of a goof, as the developers must have known no player would see this stony titan's face, leaving it there for Easter egg hunters like me to find in the future. Nintendo would perfectly blend aspects of the series' 2D and 3D realms with the creation of Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, where one of the strangest animations from it that I want to look at occurs when you perform a glitch. This is called the Batty Box Lag, done by being powered up by either a star or invincibility leaf, then ground pounding the box, which will cause insane visuals to show up on your screen while slowing down the game entirely. I get that this wasn't an intended feature, but I just wanted to show it off as it could possibly accidentally occur during your playthrough. The third installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the 3DS in 2012, where the only animations from it that are somewhat weird and worth looking at are the special title screens that you can unlock once you collect a specific amount of coins. If you get 1 million of the currency, which don't worry, isn't that hard in this entry as they're basically spoon-fed to you, you'll receive a screen of a golden Mario statue surrounded by stacks upon stacks of coins. Now, if you're even crazier and collect a whopping 9,999,999 coins, then you'll get a super special screen of the gold Tanuki Mario looking extremely happy. The final of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii U in 2012, where by far my favorite animation from it comes in the form of the Stone Eye obstacles, as their faces are brought to life, which is just a hilarious touch. I love how their eyes follow you as you run past and platform on them, which just adds a whole nother level of flavor that makes you love Mario games. In Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U, I actually want to look at a missing animation that can occur which completely eliminates your character's face. This is only done in co-op play, with one character possessing a cat suit or Tanuki suit, then performing a rolling long jump, where in the end, you bonk off your partner's head. For some reason, as you can see, this completely removes your character's face, which is just an absolutely frightening sight. And I'm not sure why doing such a simplistic task would result in such a huge change. Probably my favorite game in the franchise is the absolutely massive Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch, where in my opinion the weirdest from this game are the 8-bit ones during the 2D platforming sections, bringing back a lot of old character animations that you'll surely recognize. These include enemies like the Bullet Bills, Fuzzies, Goombas, Hammer Bros, Koopa Troopas, Lava Bubbles, Spinies, and for the first time in a mainline game, Donkey Kong, looking exactly as he did in his original arcade title. I also really like how your character is still wearing their chosen outfit in this 2D realm, going to show how far Nintendo went to make this game feel extra special. Next, I want to look at one animation from the Bowser's Fury game mode that was bundled alongside the re-release of Super Mario 3D World for the Switch, which is that the shadow figure in this game is in the shape of Luigi, and not the usual Mario model that we're used to. According to the game's files, this originally was supposed to be a Mario clone, but somewhere in development, its likeness was switched to be his bros, which is strange as there's no indication he's ever visited Lake Lapcat. These specific shadows do work differently than regular clones, as instead of mimicking your moves, they run around the area needing to be defeated. I think that this shows that they are almost definitely being controlled by somebody, probably Bowser, although it's never truly explained where this goop comes from. The final and most recent game in the franchise is Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch, which drastically changes the way that Mario acts within the 2D realm, adding many amazing details I just want to quickly go over. This is seen in the way Mario runs, jumps, ground pounds, crouches, and even powers up, as now you can see the transformation process rather than just changing immediately. There are tweaks like this across this entry that would take me an entire video to go through, but if for some reason you haven't played this game, I encourage you to try it as it's definitely worth it. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. Also, please go follow my Instagram at CopyCatGamer. There I upload some cool clips and items for my collection that you won't see anywhere else. Hope you guys all have a good day and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!